Hey everyone, this is Wade from FishFinderMounts.com, and I want to show you our new Gen 2 pole and beam mounting kit. We started off with a certain design, and as time's gone on, we've taken the opportunity to redesign it and sort of make it be able to sort of sit on our clamps and have a riser block system as well. A lot of guys have walleye boats, bass boats. They have a deck that's sunken and there's a gunwale edge. And so they want to get over that with the Livescope mount that we create. So we've come up with something for that in our Gen 2 version of the mount. So we'll get right down to it. Over here, if the camera comes down and looks at this, this is our current version model here. We pretty much run out of these now. And this is what we've been selling for quite some time. So you can see here that there is an index pin that you can lock in here to the mount, and then you see it back here, there's a screw. Well, when you look at the feature set, it can lock in like that, and it can lock in like this, and you can pull it right out because there's a channel here. So that is based on our screw, our fixed screw design. That is our first kick at the can, if you will. So we'll just put this guy here. So I've showed you how everything can come apart. And our new system, our Gen 2 system, this is what it looks like here. You can see it's longer, but it's somewhat narrower. So you can look at the dimensions of the old system. It was 2.5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. And the plate is still the same. It's 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, okay? And the height of it is about 2 inches, to slightly less than 2 inches. That's what the system is today. That's what we are moving to this system here. As this video comes out, people will be getting these versions here on outwards. And so you can see the dimensions of this guy. It's 3 3/4 inches long. It's 2 inches wide, and it's with the receiver plate on it, like the base plate here. We're at about just over 2 1/4 here. Why did we do this? There's a few different reasons. We wanted to simplify the design to get away from this fixed screw. So now what you can do is you can pull your linch pin out the back, and you can take it out just like so. You can also take it and pretend this was on the side of your boat mounted. You can take it and reinsert it the other way around so that your Livescope mount is on the interior of your boat. I'll show if the camera backs off and looks at this particular version of it. We've got it actually, the new Gen 2 version here, on the actual receiver block I just showed you, and here's the riser blocks here. They're 2 inches high each. We'll be putting these on our website here this week. And then there's a receiver plate at the bottom, so there's an assembly format here. So again, 4 inches, and if you want to just see the dimensions of what this would be like with 2 blocks, you're looking at, to the very bottom of it, you're looking at about 4.5 inches rise. Not quite. It's kind of dark here, but if the camera can see, it's just under maybe 4 1/4, let's call it. Yeah, just about 4 1/4, and it'll be about the same. Be about the same to the bottom of the, just a little bit more higher, just a little higher to the bottom of this actual apparatus here that we call our split clamp that holds this. This is our index block. This is our split clamp. So that's what the riser blocks will do. Now the riser, what we have here too, I should show you, is I just took it out, the linch pin. This, we've got a lanyard on here so that you don't lose it. You can keep this around your neck if you wish. You could, wouldn't do this myself, but some of you guys might like, you can do whatever you want. This can actually come out, and you can just have this inserted here like this. This is a fail-safe mechanism. You actually don't need it in to, if the camera backs off and looks at it from this distance maybe, you don't actually need it to keep it stuck in place. What it is like if you kind of get sloppy, this could come right out. So it's sort of a fail-safe mechanism, so that we can say, hey, look, we've given you everything you need to make sure that you don't lose this thing. whatever it may be, because you know, you don't want to lose your gear, of course, especially Livescope stuff. It's pretty expensive. So we'll just pop this guy back. Another thing, like the way that I like doing it is I just take it out and I put it around this pin too. So when it's not in the actual home position, this being the home position, say, it can be on this this index pin. I'll just pop it on there. So you know, you got it here and it's in, and you know, you're doing your thing, and then let's say you want to actually spin the maybe the camera backs out here. You want to spin this guy this way when you're rocketing down the lake. Or let's say you got it on the other side of your boat and you want to spin it this way. You can see the grooves here with the holes, and then the holes up here all line up. The camera comes and looks down. They all line up so that you can intuitively see that everything where the next hole would be. Oh, I'm on the hole, there's a line lining up. It's going to lock in. The index pin, if the camera comes down and looks sideways, it's not locked in, but now it is locked in. And so yeah, if you want to take this linch pin out, you could just have it draped over here, like so, and then you could take this. This new design incorporates this capability that you can take this right out, and if you prefer to have it on the interior side of your boat, you can just take it and put it on this side, so it's inside your boat hull, if you will, instead of sticking on the outside of the boat, as some people have mentioned their concerns about that. Again, taking your linch pin and reinstalling it. It's just basically a little ball bearing, and it's press fit in there. Maybe the camera looks down here. You just push it, and the ball bearing pops in, and now it's you know, it's nice. It's just stuck just nicely, and you can even pull it out, but it's stuck. With more pressure, you can pull it right out, and with some more pressure, push it back in, of course. So I'm going to take it out again because we can't rotate it when it's on the table here. Just pull this guy out, and I've got this very short pull just for demonstration purposes. It makes it easier. The short pull being not too long here makes it easier to deal with when we're shooting these videos. We'll just pop this guy back in, and I'll go over some of the other feature sets here. This is our 10-inch beam here. So what happens is, like, if you go all the way to the back here, what you're going to get is you're going to get to the pole. It's a little bit over 10 inches, but you can see to this edge of the pole here, if the camera backs off a little bit and sees, we're hitting the side of the pole here, and we're about 10 1/4 inches to the edge of the receiver block here. Okay? So that's the furthest travel that we have. These are called our beam because we wanted to differentiate from the pole, this being the pole. Okay? Now you see there's a bit of play here. When I do this, we've actually addressed that with this tensioner screw. It's a nylon screw that just puts force against it, and it's nylon so it doesn't actually, you know, damage the actual beam or anything. Now I want to also say these beams and the block and everything are extraordinarily, if the camera looks at me, they're very strong, very tough, because they're actually hard anodized, which makes them 3 times stronger than just regular aluminum. So they're quite tough, and they're impervious for the most part against use in marine environments, salt water, so on and so forth. So again, 10 inches of travel, but you have a whole pile. You loosen this guy back off again, coming back down here. Yep. You can loosen this guy off, and you can set it to different detents. There's all sorts of holes, and I think that's probably quite obvious. You guys can see. You can rotate it this way, up out of the water quickly when you want to go. You can rotate it this way if it's on the other side of your boat, up out of the water when you want to really just take off quickly. You can also take this guy, loosen it a bit, and you can actually tilt this guy right up out of the water. You can't go all the way because this guy actually interferes here, but you can go that far out of the water. So you can actually tilt it. And of course, one of the big things with the Livescope is you can rotate this thing 360 degrees, however you want to rotate it. Now, we do have a handle. Unfortunately, I have no handles right now. We're out of handles. But we have an 8-inch handle that you can get to. and it will be on the website with everything else. It's an option that you can get. It's machined aluminum like everything else we do, and it clamps on. You can actually set the height of the clamp, and you can just use that to turn it around in whatever direction that you want. Now, I'm going to show you the Livescope itself. Some of you guys may have not seen this because you're thinking about getting one. You want to see how this thing goes together. Well, it's quite simple. Garmin's done a good job of creating a pole mount, a rail mount. It's just essentially, it's supposed to be designed to go around a trolling motor. This is 1.25 inches. This our Garmin Livescope adapter. Now, to be clear, the Garmin Livescope adapter, when you are purchasing a Livescope kit from us, a Livescope pole and beam mount kit, a Livescope clamping kit, whatever it may be, this adapter is coming with that kit. You do not need to go into our transducer mount section and buy a second one. This is already included. If it says Livescope, it means it includes this adapter as well, okay? Just to be clear with that, everybody. And the way that this works is that I've got it kind of set up already. You can just slide it, you can loosen these bolts to whatever depth you want relatively before they come right off. I've got it fat enough. There's a little lip. If the camera comes down and looks at the side profile maybe this way, there's like you want to look from the side, yeah, there's a little lip here just to give it a little extra security. So if it loosens off a little bit or whatever, it's not just going to fall off easily. So I've got it loosened off enough that it goes right over that lip, and then we can just take our Allen key. Garmin will have provided this stuff, by the way, in their kits, guys. And we'll just take this guy and we'll just fasten it on here, and then it'll be done. It'll be on. Simple as that. But that's what it looks like. And then we can take this guy, we can rotate it, we can tilt it up out of the water as I've shown. We can take this guy and we can take over on this side. The camera swaps with me. Over on this side we have the index pin. And the way this works is you just pull it and it can lock in at different detents. And then we can lower and raise this guy, we can rotate this guy, and we can lock it in firm if we wish to as well. Just loosening this tri-knob off, the camera looks down above just a little bit, gives it just that right detent so that it doesn't actually lose its depth, stays in place, and you can just rotate it and it'll keep its distance, like its depth position that you want it set at, and you can just rotate it at that position. If you really clamp it, yeah, you can't rotate it as easily the more you clamp it, and if you really loosen it off, of course, that makes it easy too. So a lot depends on this tri-knob. And again, you loosen this guy off a little bit, and then you can take this guy and tilt it at different tilts. Why would you want to do that? Maybe you have a odd form boat, you have some different things that you're dealing with. This is just to get it out of the water quickly, perhaps, for some reason. You can even offset it this way at these detents right here. So you got a lot of different adjustability there. So the 360 adjustability, you got the adjustability at the tilting I just showed you, and then of course you have the quick adjustment here, where if you want to rotate it up out of the water quickly, you can do it that way. Also to note, down here with the Livescope transducer, right here, if the camera kind of looks this way, you can take this guy, and they have their own locking, tilting mechanism. Also note that the transducer for some reason is on a bit of a tilt. Garmin did it that way. That's got nothing to do with us. In fact, I'm confident this doesn't matter. It's still shooting its beam out whatever way. When you rotate this thing, it's going to see the fish. For it to be perfectly flat, it really doesn't matter. I think that the tilt offset that they have on here is quite fine. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but it is there, so it's slightly angled. I don't think it matters whatsoever. It's still going to see the fish as you move it around, and it's really going to be, the beam will be, a little bit skew like that instead of straight up and down. It really doesn't matter in my opinion at all. You're trying to see fish with it basically, or weed lines, what have you. So that is our system. Now to go to the receiver blocks, now if the camera comes close, these are the receiver blocks. You can see they come in two inch increments. And these will be on our website as an option to purchase under this mounting system if you wish. This is how it goes together. This is the receiver plate here. You can see we have it actually on a track here. And actually, you don't actually have to have a track. You can screw this right down via these bolt holes here. But we've used these exterior holes. The furthest one's out 1/4 inch. Then we put these actual 1/4 20 T-nuts. Looking at this, you'll get a little pack with all these different screws. You may go to the hardware store and want to choose your own, but you could go, just open this guy up, and you could go and you could mount via these self-tapping screws into a wood deck if you wish, or what have you. These are stainless steel, by the way. These guys here, so you could just mount that down with those. There's also these guys here, which are 1 inch long flat Phillips, quarter 20 threads, so very standard hardware store stuff. And you can take that, you could drill your quarter inch holes in your boat deck, and then take your wing nut and wind it on until it clamps it in place, as so. So that's something to take note of. Now, the way these go together. Now, when we do these, like something like this, if the camera backs off here from me and looks at me, when we do these guys, we're going to actually probably pre-assemble. Now, if you start to want to get 3 or 4 of them, you're going to probably have to do the assembly yourself, because we don't actually have boxes that may be able to contain that for packaging the right way that you want, or the right way that we would want. So you may have to do some assembly. If you have to do some assembly, the way that these work, they're quite innovative. I'm just going to get these screws out. You're going to get some hex socket screws like these. I'm just going to put them on the bed so it doesn't make too much clamor for us. The first thing that's going to happen, or you're going to take these guys, you can see these recessed clearance holes here. You're going to put these screws in, and you'll see them protruding down here. You can see there's actually a contour, like a little channel, and then there's the inverse channel here, and it'll just sit nicely on there, so it locks in, so it kind of puts it into play for you. And then you take these guys and you can screw them on with your Allen key. We will make sure that you get one of these Allen keys if you're buying some riser blocks from us, so that you don't have to dig into your toolbox. You just tighten that on there nice and good. You might want to put some Loctite or something on them, if it's up to you, just to deal with vibration. May not be necessary, but it might be something to keep in mind. So you crank that down. Now the next thing is, when you're looking down at this, you cannot have it this way. Again, you have to actually rotate it so that instead these holes here are lining up with this hole and this hole. So like so. And then you take your next 2 screws. So again, we've rotated these big large clearance holes so that they're not in line, because you can't put a screw into a screw, obviously. And then again, channels. There's channels to make sure that when you do that, it's all nice and centered and very intuitive. And you just drop your 2 screws in, your next 2 screws, and then you could keep doing that ad infinitum, ad nauseum, theoretically. And you just take your Allen key again and you put it together. And you've got your riser system coming together. And then finally, the receiver block sits on top of that. Again, another channel here, fits on top. You line up the holes in there. This hole here and this hole here essentially is where it's going to line up to. And then you just take your screws. You're going to have these split washers here. You can put them in there, and then just take your screws. This is going to be a tough one to see for the camera, but just trust me, this is how you do it. So we take our Phillips screwdriver and just get it lined up, and then down it goes. And you want to tighten that down nice and solid, like so. And again, this side, I'm going to put it in. This side's easy to get it in because it's so close to the edge. You can also take your screwdriver and feed it through, have your fingers there, and kind of guide it down. That's an easy way of doing it too. So now everything's together, as you see here. That's your assembly. Riser block, your footing plate, receiver blocks. Receiver block, 2 riser blocks, and a footing plate in this case. And again, the dimensions of that, I showed you guys here what that would be. But each riser block is 2 inches high, so you can add as many as you want. Those will be on our website for purchase. Now, we've also redesigned this from the old system to the new system so it can sit on the clamp too. So currently we have a system where the mechanism for holding this part of it is actually attached right to the clamp. So all you can do is tilt like so with the clamping pole mount. I don't have one here to show you exactly. Or you can pull it up and down like so. That's all you can do with our current clamping pull mount, but we're going to include an option to put this system on the clamp somehow on our website, so that not only can you, like I just showed you, tilt it and pull it up and down and spin it 360 ultimately, like you can spin this guy 360 degrees like I showed you before, right? You can now also do exactly what you see here, where you can rotate it sideways. Again, showing that, here you go, rotate it sideways, just like you see here, on the clamp. So we're going to still have our style where you don't have that mechanism, or that capability. It'll be cheaper. This will be quite a bit, this will be somewhat more expensive because you're adding in this receiver block system and everything else. But you can have it on a clamp. And some guys have asked if they could get it for a clamp. Maybe you have a rental boat or whatever it may be, and they want to actually clamp because they don't want to have any kind of, like, obviously, like permanent mounting. They just can't, or they don't. Maybe they have a very expensive boat, don't want to drill holes in their boat, whatever. Another thing to draw your attention to is this track here. This is a kayak style track. I just mounted on this piece of wood here just for demonstration purposes, but this is a kayak width track. You know, there's these Lund boats have the VersaTrack system, and there's a bunch of different boats out there that have like a 90-degree angular track on the interior edge of their gunwale edge of their boat. So there's track systems there, but what you'd want to do is you can get a 90-degree or a 45-degree plate adapter, like Cisco Marine makes them, CISCO marine.com maybe. Just look up boat track adapter, and then you hit images in Google and you'll find a whole pile where different manufacturers are making these pieces of bent aluminum that will get it, you know, horizontal. And then you can screw our system onto that. You may have a kayak that you want to use, you know, you have tracks for a kayak already and you want to use our system on the kayak track system. So you could purchase one of these from us. We have these on our website. They're 8-inch long Scotty gear tracks. And you can screw that right down to the deck of your boat if you wish. You can screw multiple tracks all over the boat. Currently we are selling these receiver blocks separately, so you can buy multiple receiver blocks and screw those in different positions of your boat. So we will probably be doing the same with this new Gen 2 system, where you can buy this assembly, a second one of them, and screw that down in different areas of your boat if you want. So we're really giving you just a myriad of different options and opportunities to get things just how you like them, just, you know, so that you don't have to think about it. You know, you take it from this one receiver block, maybe it's on the bow of your boat, put it on the side of your boat near your steering position, put it on the transom of your boat, whatever it may be. You can get everything you need to just make that perfect system a realization. So again, oh yeah, and then finally what I should do is cover our pole length size. So this pole here is just for demonstration purposes. It's not very long, but we sell our systems, and you'll have the option to get a 30-inch pole with the actual Garmin. Let's just pull this guy down, lock it in. With the actual Garmin adapter, or the Livescope adapter I showed on here, it's 2 inches long. So with this pole, you got 32 inches of depth on there. So this is the default length, or the standard length that you can get from us, 30 inches. But you can also upgrade to a 48-inch pole. This is 48 inches. So you can see the differences here in depth. And some guys have pontoon boats, decks, deck boats, or whatever you want to call them. Tri-tunes. Some guys have tri-tunes and things like that, and maybe they want to mount off their box channel rail that surrounds the deck of their pontoon. Well, then they need more length. You can actually even get pole length extensions, we call them, on our website under shop and transducer mounts, fishfindermounts.com. Everything that you see here is from us at www.fishfindermounts.com. Just what we do, we make fish finder mounts. So just keep that in your head. When you're looking for a website, you're just looking for fishfindermounts.com. You're going to come right to our website, or find the link for our website. Shop at the top left corner of our website is where you want to shop for our products, and there's different categories. This would be the transducer mounts category, what we're talking about today, because we're talking about mounting a Livescope. By the way, guys, you can also mount the Live Sight from Lowrance. They work on a similar system where they're mounting, the idea was to mount to a trolling motor. A lot of you guys have All-Trex trolling motors, different trolling motors that have their own position locks via GPS. The motor can just keep spinning. It wants to keep you, spot lock is what I'm talking about. It wants to keep you in one position. There's all sorts of reasons why guys don't want these on their trolling motors, and there's lots of good reasons for that. This is where you want to be able to control that rotational aspect yourself. You don't want to just meandering around in the water with your motor going nuts. You want to be able to control the rotation of this mount, the depth of your mount, and everything, the depth of your transducer, the rotation of your transducer yourself. So finishing off, what I was trying to say is you just take this pole link extension. Let's do it with a 30-inch. Let's put this guy down, the 48-inch pole here. And we're going to take this guy, and it goes together with this link. When you get one of our links, it'll have this piece in it. And you'll just take this guy, match up the holes as you see here, and then fasten this guy in there. We'll have an Allen key of this ilk, of this size, for you as well. Tighten that down nice and firmly, and now you've got one link. Now this is two 30-inch links, poles, right? So now you got 60 inches plus, this is almost an inch here, so really 61 inches with a link in there as well. So there is two 30-inch long poles. Just to show you, they are 30 inches indeed. This should be about 61 inches altogether because of the link in the middle I showed you. So here you go, right there. Okay, and again, all of our stuff, our poles, everything is hard anodized so it can withstand marine environments and everything. Very, very top quality, very strong. Of course, you don't want to be using these poles, they are hollow, so you don't want to be using them to just lean your weight against or anything, because once you start getting longer and longer, they're going to, they do have a limit to their strength, but they're meant to hold your transducer and do everything like that. Another question that I get often is, how fast can I go in the water with these things? Well, definitely trolling speeds and everything. The Livescope's not designed to be trolled with, like at high speeds or anything like that, or like to be in the water when you're moving at high rates of speed. So that's why we've put together things like what we have today, where it's easy to get it out. When you want to get going, you want that convenience you're at, you want to jet to another spot in the water, you just want to motor home, that's as fast, boom, it's up out of the water and you're gone. You're worried about it being over the edge of your boat, just like I showed you before, no problem. Take your linch pin out, take this guy out, pop it back in here on this side of the boat if you wish. And it goes, pop your linch pin back in, right as I showed earlier in the video, like so. And if you have tracks, you can take these guys, you can take everything off the boat very quickly and conveniently. If that's a preferential way of dealing with this stuff, you can just slide this guy out, this guy like this, and boom, now you've got the whole thing right here in your hands. If you don't really, you got it firmly screwed down to your boat, and you're going to leave your receiver blocks on your boat, which is, in my opinion, fine. Nobody really knows what they are. I don't see people stealing a receiver block off the boat, but you can just take this guy out, and now you've got a nice portable system here. You can just take it, you could maybe, let's just pop it this way here. So everything is nice, so now it's very, very easy to take with you and it's portable. And I'll make one more mention, we are fishfindermounts.com, 1-855-784-3474. We've also got awesome portable power mounting solutions for your Garmin Livescope system that you can plug everything in here. You can power your system up, and you can even charge your phone or your tablet off of here if you want. We've got a bunch of videos that shows this on our website or on our YouTube channel. You should check us out on YouTube. Again, fishfindermounts.com. Go to our channel, subscribe, hit the little bell button. Whenever we bring out new products, we're about to bring out new products, or we've got some prototypes, we're going to put a video up there. If you have you're subscribed and you hit the bell, it's going to send you an email saying, hey, these guys got some new awesome fish finder mounting products. And with the new technology that's coming out, like the Livescope, you always want to stay ahead of the curve on how are you going to put that on your boat. And we're the guys to do that. We are the best at doing this. We are the most high quality manufacturer of just solid, fantastic, convenient mounts, giving you everything you need to mount your devices, your fish finder mounting or fish finder devices on your boat. I am Wade. Again, www.fishfindermounts.com. Make sure you visit our website, and thanks for watching, everyone.